sit and survive horror games have existed for quite some time now. The genre was popularized by a well-known game that was released back in 2014 that took the internet by storm. That's right, I'm referring to Sit and Survive by Scott Cawthon. Alright, in all seriousness, we all know that I'm talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. FNAF really popularized the whole idea of Sit and Survive, where you are stuck in one room and have to prevent the horrors or whatever it is outside from getting in and, well, killing you, using the environment to keep you safe from whatever it is around you. This could be through things like, say, a camera system or a flashlight, or shutting doors in their faces. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's is not the only game that utilized this style. As a matter of fact, after FNAF came out, multiple fan and other kinds of horror games took advantage of this new stylized horror and applied it to their own systems. Now, some did try to be a little more unique because once you keep, well, copying and pasting the same style of horror throughout each and every other game, it's going to get boring and repetitive real fast. Not to mention the fact that you were starting to get certain FNAF fan games that were starting to outperform the original FNAF games themselves. So, in an attempt to spice things up a little bit, he released FNAF 4, which changed everything.
Hey Meg, I lit your scalp on fire.
Peter Lowenbroy, Griffin Sr., I recommend you stop right there.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I may have lied on that last statement because while FNAF 4 didn't fully abandon the Sit and Survive style, it did give it a much needed update. Now, instead of having to look left and right the entirety of the game, you had to actually approach the doors and shine your flashlight on the hallways. You could also turn around and shine your light on the bed, or even go up to the closet and see what's inside of it. And while these weren't really drastic changes to the gameplay style, it was basically like reinventing the wheel for FNAF fans, especially for those who have never touched a fan game in their life. Plus, let's not forget the infamous lore drops this game provided.
Was that the bike?
Now with the release of FNAF 4, you didn't really see a lot of fan games come out of it. There were some that took advantage of the style and expanded upon it in their own way, but compared to the original trilogy, you didn't really see force mechanics utilized much elsewhere. And what I mean by expanded upon it in their own way, there were some that did actually make fairly good adaptations, I guess, based on FNAF 4. But most of the time you would often see just people taking the Nightmare style and just applying it to their own characters, and well, that was it. And I could be wrong here because, well, to be honest, I didn't really play a lot of FNAF fan games when I was younger, as I only had access to YouTube and watched whatever YouTubers are playing at the time, which was certainly an interesting lineup.
Well, hello there. It's me, Golden Freddy, and welcome to Five Nights at Baldi's Nightmare Edition.
However, a recent game that came out took advantage of FNAF 4's gameplay style, mechanics, etc., and utilized them very well and, surprisingly, almost one-to-one. The game I'm referring to and what this video's topic is about is known as DIAPAUSE. Not only was I taken aback by how similar the vibes and overall feel the game felt compared to Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but also how it took those mechanics and created its own game off of it. And I'm hoping with this video, I can draw more eyes to this game because it doesn't seem like it got much engagement or attention to it when it came out. So please, do check out the game if you're interested. A link to it will be provided in the description below, as most games I cover are.
What? Oh, why am I here?
Ah, there he is.
Dr. Luna?
Are you alright? You were zoned out for a minute.
How did I end up here?
What do you mean? You arrived at the session a bit ago, remember?
I think I'm gonna catch my breath for a minute, if that's okay.
Of course. Yep, take your time. I'll take note of this for later. When you're ready to continue, you can sit back down.
The game opens up with our character, Micah, waking up inside of a therapy office, greeted by his therapist, Dr. Luna. He seems confused about where they are. The therapist tells him that he just dozed off for a minute. Micah, still confused, asked how he ended up inside the office. Dr. Luna seems rather confused as well by this comment, mentioning that he just arrived at the session a little bit ago. Micah remains silent to this response before telling his doctor that he's going to catch his breath for a minute, to which the doctor seems taken aback by, but allows it, mentioning that he would take note of this for later. Micah then gets up from the chair and is able to move around the office. Exploring the office, Micah comes across various items, notably several children's books scattered throughout the room. Each book has a specific number tied to it. The yellow book mentions a cat catching 9 mice, the green book mentions a horse running 6 miles, the purple book mentions a bird eating 5 seeds, and the blue book mentions a dog eating 2 treats. Each of these books holds a number for a code, indicated by colored toy blocks that you can change the numbers on. By inserting the right combination, a note appears on the floor, with the note reading, "You are in danger. Listen well, as your life depends on it. You will be playing a hunting game tonight. You are the prey. Something will come from the window. It hates flashing lights, but only in its eyes. Push it back. Once it's dawn, you can return to your dream by sitting down at the TV. You know dawn is here when the light tells you so. Don't get caught. This is bigger than just your own life. Good luck." Once finished reading this note, the player can then go back over to the chair and sit in it, beginning the first night. The first night of this game is fairly straightforward. Before the night actually begins, the game gives us a brief tutorial on how we can maneuver through our environment, which is very reminiscent of FNAF 4. To the left is a door we're able to approach and peer down the hallway of. We're given the options to shut the door and to shine our flashlight down the hall. Another object we can see is a television, where we can sit in front of and adjust the dial to various channels. Behind us is a bed, where we're able to shine our flashlight on. To our right is a window that peers into the outside world, of which we can also shine our flashlight out of. Once the player gets a feel for their surroundings and controls, they're able to hide the hints and begin the night. Now the first night is fairly simple, as we're only dealing with one entity, which is the same creature mentioned in the note from the therapy session we were in prior, whose name is, well, something. I'm not lying, that's actually their name. As the note told us, we have to flash the creature multiple times with our flashlight until it goes away, shown by it moving deeper into the forest near the house. Something has 3 separate audio cues to indicate when it's coming, as you have to keep track of its footsteps it makes to the right. After its 3rd footstep, something should be at the window. Since this is the first night and something is the only creature coming after you, you just have to listen for their footsteps and keep them away from the window until the night ends. The night ends once the clock reaches 6 AM. However, it doesn't automatically end. Instead, the TV will play a sound cue and emit a dim blue light from its screen, of which you have to then go and sit in front of to complete the night. Also, just to mention this, the game has an optional audio cue visualizer you can turn on in the settings, which is what the warning icons you saw previously and we'll see later in the video are. I did that because, well, to be honest, I'm not great with having to solely listen for sound cues, as it's one of the reasons why I never finished FNAF 4.
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
And how long have these hallucinations been happening?
Ugh, not this again.
And were the anxiety attacks before or after this?
I haven't been going to you for months at this point. Why am I here?
Concerning? False memories, confusion, and heavy nausea. I'll have to send this to your main physician.
Okay. I'm gonna take a look around, if you don't mind.
I want to talk on some more things today. I feel like we have a lot of progress to make. But this is your time, and I guess I can't stop you. Be careful when moving around too much with your nausea from today.
Yeah, thanks.
We then open up to Dr. Luna seemingly continuing a conversation that was being held, asking Micah how long the hallucinations have been ongoing. Micah expresses his annoyance that they're back up in the therapy room, but Dr. Luna ignores this and continues the conversation, switching it to be about the anxiety attacks. Micah then interjects, mentioning that he hasn't been going to Dr. Luna for months, and proceeds to ask why they're there now. Dr. Luna then avoids the question, saying it's concerning that Micah has false memories, confusion, and some sort of heavy nausea, and that they'll have to send everything that has been going on as of late to Micah's main physician. Micah seems confused yet again, so they ask Dr. Luna if they can get up to take a look around. Dr. Luna says that they would like to talk some more on certain things in this session and that they have a lot of progress they need to make, but will allow Micah to get up and move around, warning them not to do too much because of the heavy nausea. As we're able to get up and move around, we can notice that a new room has been opened up, revealing a new section of the office. It looks to be a reception area with a little library of some sort, along with new puzzles for the player to solve. One of these puzzles features 4 different mannequins of types of animals: a cow, a duck, a dog, and a pig. A green book sits in front of them, listing the following. The cow goes moo, the chicken goes bok 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 bok, the dog barks twice, and the pig oinks oinks oinks. Once you solve the puzzle, another note will drop on the floor, which reads, "You are doing well. Keep going. One will come from the hallway tonight. He's more tricky than the others. When he gets close, listen carefully. If he breathes, close the door until he leaves. He also may scratch his nails on the floor. You'll only be able to hear this at the door. If he does, flash your light at him. Most importantly, if he starts to click his bones, don't move. Wait until he goes away." The second puzzle is located on a nearby table with a box labeled College Funds. I don't think this person is going to college. Prompting the player to donate enough money to help whoever the receiver of this donation is to afford college. To find out the amount to donate, there's a nearby newspaper behind the receptionist desk that mentions that college prices have risen to $2.21. Man, you know the economy is bad when they have to raise college prices from free to $2.21.
And there's no money in here.
Though with this amount in mind, you're able to go back to the table and properly donate the exact money needed to solve the puzzle. Once you insert the proper amount, another note will appear on the floor, reading, "You'll have to deal with another threat tonight. You may hear it scratching on the bottom of the bed. There will be no way to stop it from crawling into your bed. Once it reaches its hands out of the covers, pry its fingers off to scare it back under the blanket. Good luck." With all these notes now discovered, you're able to go back into the chair and proceed into the second night. Night 2 now begins, and this one is vastly different than the first night. While something is still pursuing us through the right window, we now have 2 additional characters coming after us as well. One of these characters will be coming through the left door from the hallway. This one is known as Verte, and as their note mentioned, he has 3 different methods you can handle him with based on the sound cue he makes. If you hear him breathing, you have to close the door and hold it shut until he leaves. If you hear scratching on the floor, you have to turn on your flashlight and flash him with it. And if you hear him clicking his bones, you should not move at all until he goes away. As for sound cues, there are about 2 to 3 sets of footsteps, at least from what I remember, that you have to listen for before he reaches the door. The second additional character this night is known as Bedcrawler, and the only way you're able to manage him is when he reaches his hands out of the covers and grips the side of your bed, at which point you have to click and pry all of his fingers off to scare him. For his cues, it's mainly just scratching noises you have to pay attention to. I think there are about 2 to 3 sound cues from what I recall, but I'm not exactly sure. Either way, you just need to pay close attention to various sound cues throughout the night. With all of this information in mind, you'll proceed into Night 2 having to manage and avoid all 3 characters as the night progresses until it hits 6 AM again, where you will then be able to sit in front of the TV and finish the night.
Your paranoia has been getting worse, I hear. Does this include your hallucinations as well?
This isn't right. It's not right at all. I haven't gone to you for ages, and even so, you're acting differently. You were never this cold in any of our sessions.
I don't understand what you mean.
Don't give me that. You keep giving me this neutral language that's not what you acted like in any of our other sessions. You were understanding, kind, a friend.
Hallucinations and false memories getting worse. And paranoia as well. Huh.
I'm not paranoid, Dr. Luna. I'm in danger. I can feel it. I know it. Nothing about this is right.
I know you're scared, but you can't let your mind get the better of you. You can get through this. Try and calm down. You're thinking far too irrationally. Listen, Micah, how long have we known each other at this point? Why do you feel like you can't trust me?
I'll be right back.
We wake up to find the therapist continuing yet another conversation that was being held, mentioning that Micah's paranoia has been getting worse and asking if that includes the hallucinations. Micah then says that whatever this is isn't right, and that it's not right at all, especially how he hasn't gone to Dr. Luna for ages, and even if he did, he notices that Luna is acting differently than he remembers, as Dr. Luna was never this cold in any of their sessions. Dr. Luna is confused by this, saying he doesn't understand what he means, but he's then interrupted by Micah again, who calls him out for giving him neutral professional language, stating that's not what he acted like in any of their prior sessions, as the Dr. Luna he knew was understanding, kind, and a friend. Dr. Luna, however, seems to have little to no reaction to this, as he states that our characters' hallucinations and false memories are getting worse, along with their paranoia. Micah then interjects once again, stating that he's not paranoid, he's in danger, and he knows it, and that nothing about what's going on is right. Dr. Luna mentions that he knows our character is scared, that he can't let their mind get the better of them, and that Micah can get through this. He then tells him that he needs to try and calm down, and that Micah is thinking far too irrationally about all of this, before then going on to ask how long they've known each other at this point, and why he now suddenly feels like he can't trust him. Micah doesn't provide an answer to this, saying that he'll be right back, to which Luna doesn't respond to, allowing Micah to walk around the environment once more. After exploring the therapist's office once again, another room has opened up. This one leads into an empty space of a television sitting in the middle of the room. As we interact with it, a broadcast then appears on the screen, which states the following.
Parents are in shock after a new Saturday morning cartoon program leaves over 30 children throughout county extremely distressed, some of them needing psychiatric help. The broadcasting company, who has now paid over $100,000 in damages, says that interference from an unknown signal interrupted the scheduled broadcast. More on this case will be reported as it is discovered.
Once the broadcast ends, the lights flicker before shutting off briefly, then turn on once again to reveal that the TV in the room has disappeared. Now, in the middle of the room, instead lies a giant black square. When the player walks onto it, we see that it lights up with multiple white squares. This is very clearly another puzzle that we have to solve, which we can do so by walking over the black squares multiple times until eventually we manage to fill it entirely with the smaller white squares. Once we do this, the lights flicker again and turn off for a brief moment, then turn back on, revealing now that the floor is covered in multiple different papers and the TV has made a return, this time with a note laying on top of it, which reads the following. The traitor is watching. He isn't like the others. He'll appear on the TV. You know he's there once his programs start playing loudly. Find him with the dials on the TV. Once you've found his face in the static, look at him for a few seconds to make him go away. Continue to be strong. Don't let your guard down. Don't let him trick you. Night 3 now begins, and with it brings a whole new character to light. If you happen to remember the TV from the beginning portion of the game that we could interact with, that comes into fruition this night. This new entity is known as Judas, who is a cartoony character in the style of an old black and white cartoon. As the note mentioned about this character, once the TV turns on, we have to switch channels using the television dial to find where Judas might be. And honestly, when I first encountered this character, I was fairly confused the first several times trying to figure out how to even remotely deal with them, as when the note described that you had to pay attention to his face, I actually thought that there would be a face in front of the TV, or at least somewhere in the background on one of the channels, but I never saw it. I soon then realized that he'll just kind of appear somewhere on one of the channels, either in the middle of the screen or somewhere in the corner, and that you just have to sit there and watch him for a few seconds until the TV eventually goes back to being static. But once you manage to get down Judas's mechanics, along with being able to manage the other 3 characters through the night, you should be able to pass through Night 3 relatively fine.
I'm not thrilled with your unwillingness to work on your current mental state. You have to believe me when I say this stress is only temporary. It's only paranoia. Listen to me. Focus on my voice more than the one in your mind. It's gonna be okay.
You keep saying that. You keep saying to trust you, to let things go. But nothing here is normal. I would believe you, but you haven't given me a reason to.
I just want to help you, Micah. I just want to help you stop feeling like this. Focus on my voice. Let me help you. Let it pass.
I keep hearing noises here and seeing things that don't make sense, and you keep saying they're hallucinations, but how would you even know? You haven't seen them like I have. Why am I in your office, doctor? I'm not really here, am I?
I can't work with someone who won't work on themselves. Your symptoms line up with symptoms of schizophrenia and generalized anxiety disorder. I'll be sending this to your main physician for discussions on treatment, which, of course, will only be available when you feel you want to cooperate.
I haven't even told you about the attacks at night. I just appear here afterwards, and you already know about them. How do you know?
Micah once again finds himself within the therapist's office, as Dr. Luna is describing how he is not thrilled with Micah's unwillingness to work on his mental state, and that the stress he currently feels is temporary and that it's only paranoia, continuing to double down on his theory that everything Micah is experiencing isn't real, telling Micah to listen to him and to focus on his voice only more than his own instincts, reassuring Micah that he is going to be okay. Micah calls Dr. Luna out on this, stating that he keeps repeating himself, that he needs to trust him, that he needs to let things go, but he knows that what's going on right now isn't normal, and that he says he would believe Dr. Luna, but he hasn't given him a reason to. Again, Dr. Luna says that he just wants to help Micah. He wants to help him stop feeling the way he does, going on to tell Micah to again focus on his voice and to let him help. Micah interjects, stating that he keeps hearing noises here and seeing things that don't make any sense, and that Dr. Luna keeps saying that the hallucinations aren't real, before then asking Dr. Luna how he would even know that they're not real or hallucinations in the first place, saying that he hasn't seen them like he has. And, once again, he asks the question, why is he in his office? Coming to the conclusion that he's not even really there. This response causes Dr. Luna to fall silent for a brief moment before stating that he cannot work with someone who won't work on themselves, and that Micah's symptoms line up with schizophrenia and generalized anxiety disorder, following it up by saying he'll be sending all this information to Micah's main physician for discussions on treatment, which will only be provided when Micah feels like he wishes to cooperate. Micah then says that he hasn't even told Dr. Luna about the attacks that occurred during the night, as when the night ends, he just appears in the therapy office, and yet, despite this, Dr. Luna somehow already knows about it. He then asks Dr. Luna how he even knows about it. Dr. Luna again falls silent, not saying a word as Micah then stands up and explores around the office. As we search around the office again, we notice that another room has been opened. This room appears to be an extra storage room, and as the player interacts with the shelves in this room, they'll notice that each shelf has different sets of dialogue to it. The left, bottom, and right shelves have what look to be logs made by Dr. Luna during the visits, which all say the following. Patient name, Micah Rivera, 21, male. Micah speaks on patterns of nihilism and overall depression. Strong emotions are common, but has a clear worldview, albeit a negative one. Micah is in a worse mental state than last session. Spoke more of suicidal thoughts and patterns, seems to be very common. Micah comes from a rough household and is struggling to go out into the world. First session with Micah after they attempted to commit suicide. When asked, Micah seemed to be adverse to talking about the event and what caused it. Information from the facility where they were held after the event tells that it was caused by a sudden drastic life change. Most of the session was spent comforting and attempting to speak to Micah carefully. As for the top shelf, it provides instructions on figuring out yet another puzzle, indicating that certain boxes need to be interacted with in a specific pattern to complete it. Once this puzzle is complete, you get yet another note, which provides you the following. One more has found you. She's not as aggressive, but don't relax just yet. She will be in the left hallway. Listen for her music to start playing. Use your light to push her back. Be careful though. Make sure nobody else is in the hallway before dealing with her. Keep your focus steady. And of course, just like the previous other times we've done this, you're able to head back over into the office and sit in a chair and begin night 4. The 4th night begins, and now we have to deal with yet another additional character. This character, known as Kyo, at least I think that's how you say it, who, as the notes described, will be in the same left hallway as Verte. She'll be floating down the hallway towards her room, and you'll know she's coming once you hear the sound of a music box playing. The only way to prevent her from getting to you is by shining the flashlight down the hallway until she eventually goes away and you don't hear the music box anymore. However, you need to make sure that when you shine the flashlight down the hallway, Verte isn't there, especially when he's done in the mode where you have to shine him with the flashlight. Though once you manage to get her mechanics down alongside all the other characters, you should be able to once again get through the night until it reaches 6 AM, where you can then sit in front of the TV yet again and complete the night. We awaken once again in the therapy room. However, this time, no conversation is held between Micah or Dr. Luna, as Micah simply stands up and is able to maneuver his way through the office again. When you head out of the office, you find in the reception area that there is a note there, which says the following. You now have everything that you need to know. You've done well. I'm proud of you. Tonight will be difficult. They will be angry. Stay resilient. There still may be something for you to learn here. If you search this place, you may find it. Day 5. I've seemed to reach him. He's somehow still alive. I hope my messages have helped him in some way. The primary issue is the thing pretending to be me. I don't know what it's been telling him. I just hope he can realize it before it's too late. We now head into night 5, and this time, unlike the previous nights, there are no new additional characters added to the list. It's just going to be the same set of characters we've encountered before, but seeing that it's a casual night 5 scenario, it's just going to be a lot harder. So using the information we've gathered from the previous nights, we have to use the mechanics we learned in order to fend off these creatures in hopes of surviving the night. Once you manage to make it through the night and last long enough to get to 6 AM, you should be able to sit in front of the TV and end the night. However, on night 5, it's kind of different, as while it does do the 6 AM stuff and the TV glows blue and everything, Judas will then appear on the screen shortly after, and because Judas is on the screen, you're not able to complete the night until you get rid of him on the TV, so once you do so, you will finally be able to end the night.
You know, I really tried to warn you. I did.
What do you mean?
I tried to make it less painful for you. You could have gone down so much easier, but you just had to fight back. You just had to keep your guard up.
Doctor?
I would say that I'm not going to enjoy this, but that would be a lie.
If you refuse to cooperate, then I'll have to take you myself.
We jump right into night 6, and already you can tell it's vastly different compared to the other nights. Not only has the environment changed, but we're also given new tutorials and hints on how to deal with a new enemy. Instead of the 5 previous nights where we had to deal with multiple different enemies, this time we have to deal with one. Now, despite the fact that it's only one enemy we're dealing with this night, it won't be easy. Not only will they be coming from basically anywhere and everywhere, but you also have to remain vigilant and keep track of where this enemy will be. The creature that I'm referring to is the entity known as You, or well, their actual name is Ulif, but they're referred to as You. And as I mentioned, You can appear in all sorts of different places. He can come from the left door, the TV, behind your bed, or the window outside. You never really know where he might be coming from, hence why you have to keep checking each and every possible location. Not only is he relentless, but he also doesn't make a single noise when he appears, so you have to manually keep checking each different spot until you find him and try to get rid of him as fast as you can. The game does offer a tutorial and hints to basically describe how you can deal with him at each of these locations. For example, at the left door, you have to shine your flashlight down the hallway. If you happen to see him coming down the hallway, you just have to shut the door until he leaves. When you look behind at the bed, if he's there, his eye colors will determine how you will deal with him. For example, if his eye color is completely black, you just have to keep your flashlight on. But if his eye color is blue, you have to flash him until he goes away. Then you have the TV, where he will stand behind it with his eyes glowing, and to manage this, you have to switch to the corresponding channel that matches whatever eye color he's presenting, these being green, orange, and pink. Once you manage to get the mechanics down, you basically have to keep doing this until it reaches 6 AM. And again, as I mentioned, he does not make a single noise when he appears, so you basically have to keep checking each different location every time you encounter him, just to make sure you find where he ends up next. Instead of the usual nights where the TV turns blue and you're able to sit in front of it, it doesn't do that this time. As a matter of fact, once it hits 6 AM, the night automatically ends, finally ending the nightmare that Micah was experiencing.
reject me, Micah. But it does not matter now. The vessel will be chosen. It's inevitable. You have no idea what you've just done.
DIAPAUSE was honestly a really well articulated game, not only because it echoed a similar style and vibes to FNAF 4's gameplay style, but also because it took those elements and turned them into its own thing with its own story. What's impressive to me is that this game isn't even a FNAF fan game, it just took the elements and mechanics of FNAF 4 and utilized them in its own way while also giving some callbacks to certain mechanics. It was overall just, it was a really nice experience, and I enjoyed both DIAPAUSE's gameplay style and its story. And while the story may be fairly simple and straightforward compared to the lore of FNAF, I've enjoyed it nonetheless.
Help! Help! Help me! Help!
I liked the fact they had Micah having to deal with Dr. Luna, who actually wasn't Dr. Luna to begin with, but was this imposter the entire time, only to be revealed later in the game. Though I will say it was a little bit obvious as the nights continued to progress, which I'm sure was kind of intentional for the player to catch on to. I also want to note that this game was created by an independent developer known as StarStreak, and so far, DIAPAUSE is basically their first and only game they've made, and as I'm writing the script, the game hasn't really gotten a lot of attention, which I'm hoping can change with this video. I would like this game to catch on more in the future to help DIAPAUSE and its developer get out there because, again, this game was really well done, and it may be a successor to FNAF 4, mainly because, well again, it just utilized the FNAF 4 mechanics very well, and I think it's also just incredibly well crafted. I thought it did everything well, which does make me sad to see that, this game isn't getting as much attention it deserves, especially for not being a FNAF fan game. I also think this game kind of tops FNAF 4 a little bit because, well, to be honest, it actually has a settings menu where I can adjust the volumes and sounds instead of being with little to no settings at all, so that's just a given plus compared to what FNAF 4 had put me through. Again, I do highly recommend you guys go play this game. I liked how it was reminiscent of FNAF 4, and I thought it was just incredibly creative and of its own. And I'm glad to see a game that utilized the FNAF 4 style out there that's actually not a FNAF fan game. I do recommend that you go and play it. It is about $7 over on Steam, so please, if you are able to, go and support the dev and check out their game. It's incredibly well done and highly recommended, especially if you're a fan of FNAF 4 or just liked FNAF 4 and want something to play similar to it. But with that all being said, that's about it for this video. So again, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. If you watched to the end, I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, that's really about it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you then. Whenever, I don't know, either in the live streams or the videos, but yeah, alright. This is the end of the video. Bye bye!